This story begins one fateful night in December of 2023. Some may refer to it as the night before my inevitable academic death. You guessed it, it's the night before my organic chemistry exam. A lot changed for me this night. In all honesty, this was the night I decided maybe science just isn't for me. I mean, if this is what science has to offer me, I needed to get out while I was still ahead. And where was I headed? To Big Brother. Yeah, I don't know if it was because of recency bias or caffeine-induced delusions of grandeur, but I decided I was going to apply to be a contestant on the newest season of Big Brother. For those who are unfamiliar, Big Brother is a reality TV show in which 16 individuals are locked in a house for the entirety of a summer and forced to participate in strange competitions and vote each other out one by one until one winner remains, and said winner is awarded $750,000. However, as I was staring at my Big Brother contestant application, I began to wonder what goes into being a Big Brother contestant. Psychology is ingrained in the Big Brother process before the show even starts. Casting directors are known to select for very particular personality traits in contestants. When looking at the big five personality traits, this includes high extroversion, referring to someone who's outgoing and sociable, high neuroticism, referring to someone who is more anxious or easily angered and saddened, and low agreeableness. They want contestants who are competitive, independent, and stubborn. You're probably thinking this doesn't really make up the ideal candidate for a TV show, but a criminologist who worked as a consultant on Big Brother for over 10 years said that casting directors casted as if they were looking for individuals simply based on the fact of whether they would clash or not. We also see casting directors working based on how individuals form impressions and influence others. So we'll typically see a lot of young, physically attractive people on the show. Individuals that we see as credible, they might be an older male who has an occupation like detective or ex-Navy SEAL. And then we see casting directors manipulating similarity by bringing out people who can act as an out group to the main in group and form a first impression of division or distrust. All right, now we have our 16 contestants. Time to lock them in this house. This house is structured based on forming as much interaction as physically possible. In fact, the majority of the bedrooms are jam-packed with at least 4 beds per. And no, this is not because Big Brother is going broke. This is because they want to force the contestants to have as much physical proximity, which leads to some interesting interpersonal relationships. For example, showmances, which, yes, is a romance that blossoms during the duration of the show. But an interesting pattern we seem to see is that these showmances end very abruptly once Big Brother ends. And this is because the environment fostered by Big Brother allows for a heightened sense of attraction due to forced physical proximity, forced functional proximity due to increased interaction, and a heightened value associated with others' opinions of us. When you're on a show where $750,000 is on the line simply based on whether individuals like or dislike you, someone having a positive opinion of us is very important. Another relationship we see is referred to as alliances, which is when individuals with similar opinions and game playing tendencies come together and decide to work together and not vote each other out throughout the entirety of the game. This leads to a lot of interesting psychological phenomena, like groupthink, where the alliance pretty much acts as one singular entity throughout the game, and any outside opinion is unable to infiltrate, which leads to normative function of conformity, where individuals of said alliance may want to act against the alliance, but do not of fear of being rejected, and in most extreme cases, group polarization, where the individuals in the group come to have a more polarized and extreme opinion. An example of this is seen in season 20 when Daniel and fellow contestants come and form an alliance together based on the fact that they want to evict fellow contestant and eventual winner Taylor. They all have individual opinions that Taylor just needs to get out because she's too much of a game threat. But after interacting together a lot, they seem to come to more extreme opinions that Taylor is manipulating people with her attractiveness and is not a girl's girl and hates all women. Therefore, when Paloma, another contestant, decides to leave the game due to her own mental health struggles completely independent to Taylor, Daniel's alliance decides to confront Taylor and accuse her of manipulating Paloma into leaving so less women will be in the house. This is obviously completely baseless and untrue, and Big Brother received a lot of backlash for allowing the continued bullying and verbal abuse of Taylor to go on. That's not the first time and will not be the last time Big Brother receives a lot of backlash. As Big Brother exercised power and authority over Olivia in a season of Big Brother UK, she received a punishment for a minor rule break in which she had to write 600 lines of text and had shock pads on her body and received a shock every time she stopped or slowed down writing said text. Viewers watched as fellow contestants sat around and laughed and gawked at Olivia, and even some viewers said that Olivia deserves every ounce of her punishment for disobeying Big Brother. I don't know about you guys, but this rings eerily similar to one of psychology's most infamous unethical experiments by Stanley Milgram, in which participants were told to elicit a shock to Confederate learners when they gave an incorrect answer. Over 65% of participants decided to elicit what they thought was a fatal shock to said Confederate learner. So, after this night of research, I decided to close the door on my reality TV career and open the door back to my studying materials. Because if I'm going to be a victim to psychological torture, I'd rather it be through a chemistry exam than whatever Big Brother has going on.